Welcome to the Show Me the Money. We are your guide to gambling on the movies. I am your host, Nick the Father Turner.
I'm Pat the Hat Stango. And Nick, we have got special guests tonight. We have got the guests. How? Listen, the magic of the movies.
It's not a
They're
guest.
Here.
They're not like the hosts of podcasts I listen to weekly, are they?
I think they might be. In fact, I think their podcast is all about the same subjects as our podcast,
That's
the
where
Oscars.
I get my info.
Yes. So this is who tells us who we tell you who to bet on. We have got from Mike and Oscar. Mike and Mike. We don't have Oscar, but welcome, Mike and Mike.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? Thank you for having us, guys. And that was quite the professional ad read at the start. That was very impressive. Good stuff there.
Oh, thanks. It's not my first ad that I've not felt connected to that I've made.
Well, you're doing God's work with it.
I can't feel connected to it because it's a legit gambling site, so it does not have entertainment odds.
What is going on with that, by the way? I mean, we've been struggling. I can't believe in this day and age with how widespread the legalization of gambling has become that there's still so few sites and carriers and apps and brands that carry any kind of entertainment odds whatsoever. It's mind-boggling me.
My theory is that they can't have entertainment lines on legitimate sites because they have predetermined outcomes. And somebody knows. Somebody knows who's in, what character is going to be in the 8th episode of the Lord of the Rings spinoff. You can bet on weird shit like that sometimes, as you probably have seen.
I would buy that as an explanation, except that the Academy basically has assassins until the accountants give the envelope backstage. If anyone leaks, they.
Yo, if you have too many friends vote for you, the Academy comes for you.
It's true. It's a good point. Boy. It's a fair point.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's such a pleasure to have you. You guys, you know a lot more than we do. And as we always say on this show, that's unnecessary to make bets.
It's accurate.
Yeah, you guys are more in-depth. You, at least one of you has to take 6 months off to watch all of the Sundance movies.
That's me. I just did that. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and how the hell you got to needing to do that?
Well, I have a sickness, you see, and that sickness involves 32 Sundance movies in a week's time, and I only took 2 days off to where I did eight movies in a day. So that was psychotic. And you're getting me right after that, directly after that, at my creative best right now. So I appreciate
so you saw them all. It's all done.
I saw 32 Sundance movies, and I liked 4 of them.
Yeah,
so
how many?
That's my headspace.
Okay. So 4 you would recommend?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it seems like you would recommend not doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you see a possible Best Picture contender in any of these Sundance movies?
Not this year, but I'll tell you, when Mike and I did 2 years ago during the pandemic, I was like, Coda, if it's in it, it could win it. And that was the best call I've ever made. It's all downhill since that moment.
Wow. I mean, that's how good these guys are, Nick. We pat ourselves on the back for predicting Coda after Coda had already been nominated for the Oscar. Mike and Mike knew Coda would win the Oscar 2 years before it was even finished. That's how good Mike and Mike are.
Like Mike said, it's a sickness. It's not a gift. It's a sickness.
But sometimes sicknesses can be
before
healthy.
He went deaf. That he would win.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I always knew. I felt it.
Yeah. Guys, I mean, listen, I want to get us. Well, before we get started, just a real quick, let the listeners know Mike and Mike and Oscar, why in 10 seconds is it the best Oscar podcast to listen to other than the Show Me the Money?
Well, it's Mike, and Oscar, and we have picked the two laziest.
I'm too excited.
That's all right. We picked the 2 laziest pseudomonyms in the history of media, just Mike 1 and Mike 2. We go to Sundance, one of us, and we figure out who's going to win Best Picture 2 years ahead of time.
That's great.
And no, I mean, look, we do this year round, and it is fun. And Mike, I think it's definitely it's fun to like cover all the different facets of the movie year, from the festival season to the award season, obviously, to the summer blockbuster season. I know you guys are box office nuts, and we cover it all.
And why we have a kinship with you guys is like the area I'm sure you've seen on film Twitter and whatnot. It can get a little stuffy, and we try to not take it so seriously. I mean, it is serious after all, and there are
it's
people
the most
that make a living
serious,
on it,
yeah.
of course, but it gets a little too serious sometimes. So
Yes.
we try to
because
fight back against that a little.
I'll listen to yours and a couple other movie podcasts, and everyone is always talking about film Twitter like they're the Beehive.
Right.
They're going to swat you. And I don't go on there. I never see anything.
You are smart. You are smart,
Yeah.
and you should keep doing that.
Yeah. Go to casinos. Go to win casinos.
Yeah.
Don't go to film Twitter. That's the
Exactly.
lesson of our show. But one thing that all of film Twitter is talking about, Andrea Riseborough. Guys, I think we got to start with what I think is the main event of the 2023 Oscars, Best Actress. I feel like Andrea
the slap
Riseborough
of this year, and it's already happened.
Yes, that's it. It's so great because you couldn't pre-advertise the slap was coming heading into last Oscars, but this year ABC could be like, we got her, Andrea Riseborough. She's going to be up for Best Actress, and that's a reason to watch. So the investigation's happening. The Academy is investigating whether her campaign was illegal. Mike and Mike, what break it down for us, like a morning sports show. What's going on with this Riseborough campaign?
It was illegal, but it was not illegal enough.
It's only illegal if you get caught. So it wasn't
Rescind the
illegal.
nomination. Yeah, they're not rescinding
What
the
was
nomination.
the illegal part?
So basically, they solicited direct Academy members, and they also like broke a rule where you're not supposed to do like comparisons in social media or in emails or in FYC campaigns, and they broke that. And then they did like 3 email blasts in 1 week instead of 1 through the Academy, where it cost them $2,000 an email blast. The Academy's making bank on some of these things, guys. And they broke some minor rules. They've gotten their hand slapped. It's frowned upon. But she is not getting – the reporting just came out a couple hours ago. She is not getting her nomination rescinded.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I hadn't seen that.
Oh yeah, it's a huge investigation.
I hadn't seen that it was over. I thought that the small caveat was that she hadn't sent out texts or emails, and if it wasn't personally sent from Andrea Riseborough's phone or email account, then you could be I don't know.
She destroyed her cell phone like Brady did during Deflategate. Yeah, I mean we just talked to Clayton Davis of Variety our last episode, and
great episode.
like we talked. Thank you, and we talked to him about like the way campaigning is like changing, and you guys mentioned on your last show as well, like. Andrea Riseborough has the same manager, the same agent as, actress A, actress B, and they were all able to do these coordinated efforts and events. If she wasn't such a veteran, I think it's another point you guys brought up, if she hadn't been in the film industry and is so established as she is and has rubbed shoulders with all these people, there's not many actresses or actors that could do that kind of coordinated effort within, a 72-hour period that she did. And like Clayton said, you can't really persecute her for doing what got done, even though it kind of took a spot, or quote unquote took a spot away, even though it may not have. She may have finished second in voting for all we know, even though it seems to have taken a spot away from a Viola Davis or a Danielle Deadwyler or something like that.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because for your consideration is basically saying vote for me, but you're not allowed to specifically say vote for me. But when they say for your consideration, they're saying vote for me. So it's all just sort of a little bit.
You can buy a
to me,
billboard.
nitpicky.
You can take out a page in Variety. You can hire an airplane to, fly back and forth across the coast. But you can't email Courtney Cox people.
You can't email
Right.
Courtney
God
Cox.
forbid you talk to the friends.
I've been told that many times in my life. Do not email Courtney Cox.
Stop
they keep
emailing
telling me.
Courtney Cox, I think
They keep telling me, and Andrea Riseborough, she didn't listen to that.
In all seriousness, I wonder if it's gonna. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I wonder if it's gonna get worse with the consolidation of agencies, like how CAA is just buying up everyone behind the scenes. So representation is going to get more and more acute. So I wonder if this is going to happen more often as we go along here. But I guess we'll see.
I mean, it's going to be hard to do it again. It's going to be harder.
I would
for the
hope,
next person
yeah,
when
anyway,
everyone's doing it.
Right.
When
It's like
they say
any
that's
other. It's like any entertainment trend. It's just going to be the next ones are a ripoff, and everyone's going to be like, this wasn't as good as when Andrea Riseborough did it.
January is going to be the month of Courtney Cox every year from now on.
Yeah, email her. So I want to throw out this theory that we brought up on our show last week, that the fox is in the hen house. Andrea Riseborough, she got in. She was an outsider, didn't think she was going to get nominated, but she's in now. And she's got the taste for blood. She knows how to campaign. Does she go from being someone who no one ever thought was going to get the nomination to, my theory, she could win this whole thing? I mean, I think she's the chickens are in trouble now because the fox is there. So what do the mics think?
Look, I think once the voting kind of expands beyond the quorum that they needed, in essence, to get her nominated, they knew they needed 218 voters, and they got that, probably less than that.
Probably less than that, yeah.
It was such a tight race. It was going like 9-10 deep in Best Actress, we thought. And my guess is once this blows out to the whole Academy, because the whole Academy, all 6,000... Or what is it, 10,000 members
10,
now, Mike?
plus,
we probably should know that.
Yeah, it's relevant.
Once it goes to the whole Academy, you can't play that game anymore. So now you got to get eyes on your movie and get that circulating around the rest of the group. And I don't think they've done that yet. I don't know if they have any more money to do that. We'll see. But I would not expect. I think that's but my first sucker bet of the day. That's a sucker bet. It's Yo versus Blanchett. Still,
One of you guys took them, and what were the odds?
Oh, that's
you got
right.
on her?
I put $37 down to win $1,250.
Yeah.
$1,250.
40 to 1 almost.
33.
33 to 1. I mean, she's
currently 20, I believe.
I'm looking right now. It's like 10 to 1, 11 to 1, depending on the book.
She's fully in third place.
Yeah. She's solidly in third.
You should have put it in your game.
Oh, she's 20. She's 20 to 1 on Bovada specifically.
Okay.
Or she was earlier today when I looked.
Yeah, I see. I'm on odds checker. I see a couple 20 to 1s.
But I don't know. As one of the few prognosticators in this field that picked it, I'm excited that she got in, and I feel a little closer to her. I feel like maybe I was the second AD on the movie. I doubt they had one. I bet Andrea Riseborough was the second AD on the movie.
Who was Leslie, guys? Was her name Leslie? I watched the movie. I still don't remember. Was it the son?
So she's not the titular character. Wow.
Was that her child?
I thought she wrote a letter to her kid at the end, Leslie. I don't know. That's how much I remember the movie.
Well,
so we have Mike and Courtney Cox that we know for sure at least watched it.
And Ed Norton.
That's true.
He's the one who started
He's
it all.
He's still tweeting about it. That tweet thread's not over.
I mean, if this were the day though, and when you could only get a movie at a Blockbuster Video, Leslie would be off the shelves. Like, I think right now more people have watched Leslie in the last week than worked on the movie. Like this is probably a real hot ticket.
Okay,
on
so
VOD.
As we all know, Cate Blanchett gave the best performance of the year in any category, and obviously she should win, and it sucks. And no one wants her to. I don't want her to. She should.
She doesn't want to.
She does. Yeah,
she
may
doesn't
not
want
herself
to. She's begging you to vote for Andrea Riseborough. Who's got the better performance?
I have Cate Blanchett, my number one, just over Margot Robbie, who got snubbed, believe it or not.
Wow, you're riding that train straight into hell.
No stop signs, no speed
The
limits.
caves at the bottom of L.A., yep.
Mike and I are both on the Babylon train.
Absolutely.
God help us.
Haven't seen it. Still isn't out.
I think Michelle Yeoh's going to win, and I would put money on her. I think she's whether or not she wins SAG. I feel like Clayton said on our show. I mean, this is the time to vote for her. We're not going to get another chance, most likely. And Blanchett, we've seen that type of campaign or that type of move hurt people in the past when they kind of take the piss out of the whole season, like she did. If you don't want the award, you're not going to get the award in many a case. So I'm guessing that does in fact hurt her. And it was a close race to begin with, and she's going against the lead of the movie that is the darling of the season. So it's a rough spot.
As far as Riseborough goes, it's always tough to be the single nominee representing your film and win any category, much less an acting category, much less one of the lead categories. Obviously, this is a special case because this is such a unique thing that she did and pulled off, and I think the odds are reflecting how unique her case is. But I agree with Mike right now. If I had to place a bet, I would pick Michelle Yeoh. I don't even know that I would bother placing the bet because the odds are so close to even as it is.
Yeah.
Do you guys, you mentioned the SAG Awards. Do you think that the winner of the SAG in that category is going to win, or are you guys sort of seeing a split? Because I could kind of see a situation where Blanchett wins the SAG and then Yeoh still pulls out the Oscar win.
Yeah, we've had it going back and forth a couple of times over the past 5 years or so since Mike and I started the pod. Frances McDormand took it back with Nomadland, right? And I could see that happening again, but I'm very curious at how the ensemble works with SAG, because you already know that Ke Huy Quan is going to win supporting actor. Like, who does he have to slap to lose? Somebody really important.
Imagine anyone he slaps would make him more likable.
I'm invincible.
So, like, how do you, if you know you're already given that movie a big prize on the night, there's only 5 big awards, kind of maybe 6. Do you go in a different direction and that was the whole theory that we had a guest, Scott Yeager, on. That was our whole theory. Do you go somewhere else for the ensemble like they've done in the past? I'm curious to see what SAG does. I'm not sure. I'm sure you loved hearing that advice. I really don't effing know at all.
Yeah, I feel like SAG Ensemble almost has to be everything everywhere because they've got 4 people nominated for acting Oscars.
But Banshee's got what?
Banshees too. That's
4 or
right.
5, so yeah.
Bombshell
Glass
years past
Onion
did the same thing. It didn't win ensemble. I mean, it's happened before.
Yeah, I mean,
so who knows, guys? Who knows?
who knows? I mean, listen, we all know we're all going to win every bet that we make, including betting in multiple people in the same category.
I want to
somehow
ask
win them
if
all.
you guys have any bets. What bets have you made?
Look, I have not bet this year. We can't near us, so we were talking about going to Atlantic City, to be honest. And I was talking to Mike. I mean, it's dangerous telling Mike this. I was going to go with my brothers to AC, and we were going to place a bet. Because I was 20 for 20 last year like an ass, and I didn't bet last year either.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
20 for 20, and it never happened before.
So that's taking out the categories you can't possibly know.
I fucking picked Coda at Sundance. I went 20 for 20. It was my year, and I made 0.00.
You should be retired now. You should be able to live off of last year's Oscars for the next 30 years.
I should. It should be done. I should be whatever I want.
mean, we should organize some kind of New York listeners bus trip to Atlantic City just to all place Oscar bets.
I think
head
we
back.
need to talk to Mattress Mac.
Yeah.
We need a little funding. And we need to go all in on somebody like 3 years from now.
Yeah.
He's got it to burn, right? He keeps putting out those $5 million bets, $2.5 million bets. I see him. He wins like 1 out of every 4. He seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, I think the mattresses are doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
For his bank account. And the fact that the Astros cheat their way to a win every year, that's really helping him out. Anyway, yeah, I've bet a lot on a lot of different categories. I think no matter who wins the race in Best Actress, I'm coming away with hundreds. Whoever the winner is.
That's
But
good.
you bet thousands. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, I've bet $10,000 on that
you
category.
bet $10,000. Yeah.
On Armis.
Yeah. Ana de Armas, was that the surprise of the big categories? Was that the biggest surprise to you, or I know Nick, you had Ana de Armas, so I guess she was less of a surprise than Riseborough.
Well, Mike had talked to me about, through their podcast, about how she had won a lot of European awards, and so
she didn't miss the major precursors up to nomination day.
Precursors.
Yeah. So Best Picture. I mean, you mentioned Banshees, Everything Everywhere. It's sort of there are a bunch of movies that have around the same, 7 to 10 nominations. I don't see a total clear front runner. I mean, Everything Everywhere is the front runner, but it does still feel at this moment like a 3 or 4 movie race is still on the table. Do you disagree?
We've been saying for a while we think it's a 4-headed race, except Top Gun probably is solidly in 4th because it probably needs to win PGA to show that it has life left in the category. But yeah, right now, I mean, if Oscars were tomorrow and you want to tell me that either Banshees or Fabelmans or Everything Everywhere wins, I don't know that I would be stunned. I mean, Tar has gotten so much love. That's kind of the long shot that's like, I don't think it's going to win. I don't really think it has a Best Picture chance. But of the long shots, that's the one that I'm like, well, if I heard that name called of the long shots, I'd be least surprised by that just because of how it's been treated colloquially and how it's been treated by the guilds and how it's did on nomination day, too.
That's the one I have. I have it ahead of Maverick at this point. To me, that's in the 4.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me at all.
You think Banshees could really win? You think a movie that won 0 Critics' Choice Awards could win Best Picture?
It's a long shot. The assumption would be that it has to do well at BAFTA, and it's like a home game for Banshees because Martin McDonagh
and it should do well at
there.
BAFTAs as well. We expect it to.
McDonough's done well there, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's two nominees that I've gone pretty much all in on and sunk hundreds of dollars in, and if these don't win, it's going to devastate me. And that is the Daniels for director and Everything Everywhere for picture.
You got to beat
and
Papa
that's
Steve.
What's going on? But okay, so who do you guys listen to the most? Like if you need to go look up something real quick, where do you go for a quick opinion? Because I will tell you personally, Gold Derby, top 24 users are my people. And I search that to see what the latest is. Who are your people?
Feinberg and Clayton.
Yeah, we definitely check out Gold Derby, but the two altars we kind of pray to most when it comes to relying on insiders are for the Feinberg forecast and Clayton David.
Yeah,
of Clayton Davis. I'm sorry. Yeah, of Variety there, award circuit.
Have to because they're really on the ground, and we've gotten an appreciation for who they're talking to and kind of their canvassing things. So they're getting a cross section in a way, and they're also just like they're on the beat, which you're gonna know a lot of the. You like if you're a sports reporter on the beat, you're gonna know that this guy's got a bum knee or a sore knee. You're gonna know that. You're gonna know all these inside.
He's Adam
things.
Schefter.
Yeah.
He gets like he's too. Scott talking about Scott. He's too plugged into the weird stuff he comes up with. Always ends up rearing its head. Like he was one of the first to have Sandler in his top 5, and everyone was like, "How that 5th spot seems so up for grabs? How do you land on Sandler for Hustle?" And then the SAG noms come out, and there's Sandler sitting there in the nominee slot. So, and that's just an example of what happened this year. But every year, Scott especially, there's like weird stuff he comes up to, but he's so connected. It's just you can't look away from him. If there's something weird on the Feinberg forecast, we kind of put a lot of stock into that.
He's
what do you
either
think?
Max Bialystock or just a really good reporter. One of those two things.
It's so good. What award show do you think is the best precursor?
Oh, God damn you. God damn you to hell. This has been the worst argument.
It's the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
But look, we've done like the precursor nomination crossover statistics for the last 10 years. I have done it out. I shouldn't say we. Mike doesn't want to do any of that shit. I've done it out, and it's almost all the same, right? And look, at BAFTA was probably the closest, a couple years ago when I did this 10-year crossover. But I think you got to look at BAFTA's last few years, and they've gotten so wonky that I don't
they
remember
did get
who the
Anthony
hell was-
Hopkins right.
They did get.
That's
Anthony
why I
Hopkins
flipped for
French.
Anthony Hopkins. At
They
the last
usually
minute
get the
at
white
BAFTAs.
people right at the last second. The white people in
They
Britain.
also usually love white people at the back.
Yeah,
Like
they
that.
love
That's
Andrea
a
Riseborough.
historic. Yeah, I think it depends on the category too. Like the DGAs have a huge crossover, picking their winner with what happens on Oscar Sunday. One of the more obscure ones, for whatever reason, the Critics' Choice has a great crossover with picking their production design winner and the winner of the Oscars production design. So it's not like a award show by award show, precursor by precursor thing. But if you are sick enough to study this stuff like we do way too much,
The
you
Golden
can't find
Frog.
trends.
The Golden
Yeah,
Frog
that's true.
plays that. No,
Frog
the fucking Golden Frog.
for cinematography. Just weird,
Oh,
obscure
it
shit.
is, it is called the Golden Frog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
They could have
beautiful.
changed that at any
Tar.
point.
They were the only people to pick Tar in cinematography this year, and I ignored it. The Camera Image Festival,
Doesn't make any sense.
Golden Frog. I ignored it, and I remember I was DMing somebody. I'm like, wait a minute, I probably should go with that damn Golden Frog. I don't have enough in this category right now. I'm so mad.
That's
All right,
disgusting.
guys.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to a category. Is Brendan Fraser weak in Best Actor, or is he already an underdog? Because he was listen, a couple of months ago, it was, the Brendan Fraser-isance. It's all locked up. He full body transformation. Oscars love that. It was a slam doink. And now, I don't know. I kind of feel like Fraser is not just no longer a slam doink. He's not even the favorite anymore.
I love Slam Doink.
Yeah, here's the recent scuttle. I mean, it's the recent analysis. If you're listening to Ann Thompson, etc., IndieWire Screen Talk, she's talking about how at this stage, if you're not in a Best Picture nominee, it kind of hurts you a little bit, and in terms of people actually watching the movies and catching up, that might hurt Brendan Fraser a little bit. But he gave such a fantastic speech at the Critics' Choice Awards for that room. Everybody was just fawning over him. He's got the momentum right now. If you're not picking him to win SAG, I don't know. I have to pick him to win SAG right now myself. If
Minus
that happened, who the hell
150 at SAG right now. Brendan Fraser. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I do feel like he's got the momentum. I
think he's the betting favorite right now across most books. At least most European
heavy,
books.
heavy. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't. It's a three-headed race in that category, obviously, and I think
Yeah, Bill Nye, Paul Mescal.
right, of course,
And Brendan Fraser.
Is it Nye or
and Tom Cruise from Top Gun, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that movie, and I've said this over and over on our show, the whale showing up in PGA at the Producers Guild for Best Film was like a very, very surprising thing to me, because that is so not a PGA type movie, and if you have that kind of support for it, it's probably gonna win hair and makeup. It's got a surprise nominee with Hong Chow in supporting actress. Yeah, you want to be in a Best Picture nominee, like Mike just cited Ann Thompson saying, but at the same time, I mean, if he's the betting favorite right now for a reason, I think. So I would go in right now. Again, if the Oscars were tomorrow, he would be my pick.
Is there? It's a three-headed race. Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser. Are there any two that you see being the two that might cancel each other out in a way? Like to me, I could kind of see Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser getting that, I want to vote for the veteran who's finally getting his due vote.
Yo,
and then Austin
and Pat's
Butler
Elvis
sneaks in as the hot
bias
young thing.
is rearing
I'm,
its
I'm
ugly
an
head.
Elvis guy. I've been an
Do
Elvis
not
guy.
go into Elvis with these people.
I think
They're
his
good
music
people.
is underrated. It hasn't sold enough albums.
Right,
And I think
right.
people are sleeping on this movie. But I think, and listen, you got the Lisa Marie, R.I.P. That's going to add, I think, some sentimentality. Hosted a great episode of SNL. Everyone loved his. We're sleeping on his Golden Globe speech. It was a great monologue. I'm not trying to make the case for Austin Butler, but I think Farrell, Fraser, you could kind of get a split there, and then this hot young thing sneaks in, gets the Oscar.
Look, if Mike and I are, filling out a ballot ourselves, we're picking Austin Butler ourselves. But that's from the performance within a performance. I mean, that kid got up there and sang like Elvis and performed like Elvis. And then I thought he nailed the dramatic scenes in a big, tawdry, gaudy, dramatic nonsense movie that it was, even though it was fun.
And he had to act opposite Jabba the Hutt, Tom Hanks, most times with those prosthetics. So
Jabba the Hanks.
Which I mean, you're talking makeup. That should be your makeup Oscar.
Clearly, without
Elvis
question.
How dare you? I think ultimately, like, Banshees might get the benefit of an Oscar puzzle theory here. And Mike and I have always talked about this, like, where do you give certain movies credit on the card from your ballot? Because, again, the whole Academy is voting for every award.
And they like spreading the love.
They like spreading the love. Is this where Farrell gets some love if it's not going to Brendan Fraser? And I wonder if, like, the old fogey vote, like the old Academy vote, in the Best Picture category, and maybe in this category, if the old movie fans kind of get crossed out between Top Gun and Elvis and Best Picture, but I'm not necessarily sure we're going to see a cross out here. Like, maybe Bill Nighy could take a few votes away for Colin Farrell, but I don't know. I don't think that's happening.
Okay, we wake up BAFTA morning. I'm dressed in my Bill Nighy suit, my custom suit, same as the one he wears in the movie, and I am just waiting. Bill Nighy is going. He was the first guy I just had a little fun with. Our first episode, just picking a long shot. I love Bill Nighy. And nothing would make me happier. I've already wasted a good $30 on Bill Nighy to win $600. This was the first week of December. Don't come for me.
No, I mean, look, especially, knowing what we know BAFTA does every year, would it be shot? Like, no, I wouldn't be.
Of course.
No, right?
Bill Nighy winning BAFTA, 100% possible.
Right. I think that's very much in play. And the next tweet would be from the MMO account, BAFTA gonna BAFTA, and we'll at you guys when that happens.
Thank you. Who's going to beat Guillermo del Toro? Is that the most? Is that the worst category at the moment? That's the most over of any.
Did you guys like Pinocchio?
I liked parts.
Okay, so no.
I put it on. I put it on, and then a few minutes into it, I was like, I can't watch a Pinocchio movie, and then I shut it off. I've already watched one Pinocchio movie this year. I can't watch a second Pinocchio movie. I'm a 40-year-old man. It's just, I gotta
draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. That line is at second new Pinocchio movie in 1 year, so I haven't seen it. Should a former Best Director winning filmmaker be able to win Best Animated Feature? And I know animated features are not below others, but I almost feel like this is like some kind of a cheat or a hack, of him getting another Oscar by overseeing an animated film. I don't know. There's not slimy, but there's something about it. At least it's not live action short. That, I think, you can't win your second Oscar with that.
Nobody campaigns better than him right now, I think. And he's got the... Well, he had the branch in the palm of his hand, but he probably has the Academy in the palm of his hand. That man, and most people like Pinocchio. Most people aren't. I
was going to say we're the only four that
like
it
the
seems.
Four of us.
Yeah,
I hated that movie. I thought it was Oliver
Same.
Twist. I agree. I can't stand that story. I think I'm Italian, and there's a bunch of British accents which annoyed the shit.
Mike's just racist is what he's trying to say.
No, I would like one Italian voice, maybe in an Italian, the archetypal Italian story, for Christ's sake.
Do you think
they're not giving us Geppetto and they're not giving us Mario? I mean,
Good point.
It's
Do you
a
think
rough
that
year
Doug
for us.
Jones heard that Guillermo del Toro was making Pinocchio, and he's like, I could be Pinocchio.
I could play that.
Animated. Good. I've got plenty of offers.
I mean, there's highlights in that movie. It's just like, I don't know. I think the rest of the world saw something different than the four of us. I like production design. It's pretty to look at. The song isn't bad, But
I agree with the song. Yeah.
I don't know. That movie wasn't for me. Yeah.
It's missing, though, the essential element that the Zemeckis Pinocchio had this year, which is Pinocchio looking at a pile of shit in the street.
The Zemeckis movie might have had the worst final the worst final 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I was gonna say final 90 minutes.
I've ever seen. Yeah.
Good credits, though. I went on the podcast Who Charted, and you have to bring a song, like a new song that you're listening to. And I brought Ciao Papa and made everybody listen to it.
Nice.
I set it up. I was like, I got a banger. I've been dancing to this. It's all I listen to in the car. Ciao Papa.
That's where you got to bring in the air horn that you were saying before. That bah, 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 in the middle of that, you know?
It's good. I wept. My son.
But to answer your question, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and Puss in Boots, The Last Witch, superior films. Turning
By
Red,
far.
superior film. And my story, let's just say that. Story, again, because I agree with the production values, production design.
Can we just give it to Toy Story 4 or 3 again? Can we just do that instead?
Is 5 out yet?
Just assume there will be a 5 and just
Right.
preemptively
I think that's
give
fair.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm rooting in that category for the Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, because I'm a box office guy, host another show, the B.O. Boys, and this movie is on an all-time run. Greatest holds I've seen since The Greatest Showman. So just for that reason, I hope they give it a Puss in Boots.
It's adorable, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Adorable movie. Salma Hayek, it's funny. Antonio Banderas. Oh, my God. I loved it.
Eddie Murphy coming out and basically taking a poop on it didn't help this week, but I don't know if that'll affect anything anyway.
Is this Shrek 6?
Have you guys seen You People yet? Eddie Murphy should stop talking. Right.
Oh, I saw it. I watched it last night. Couldn't sleep.
Ugh, it's awful.
I got it queued up.
I could just see Jonah Hill and Kenya Barris in Kenya Barris's living room just high-fiving each other while writing that script. Completely unaware. And then Jonah Hill is like, yeah, and I'll slick my hair back. Wow.
Rough movie.
All right, question for the mics here. Do you see a movie that could be this year's Dune? The movie that sweeps through the under the line categories. Is that movie All Quiet on the Western Front?
Look at Mike and I usually talk about one movie like being the tech monster or the undercard monster like
the
Dune
Mad
was.
Max? Yeah.
There are so many this year. There's more than usual. We have Elvis. We have obviously we have Top Gun, and we have Avatar with a couple here and there. I mean, there's a bunch of movies that kind of took that mantle. If I can get my document to cooperate here.
I do want to cut in and say sorry about the Knicks.
Well, that's what I was watching. So I was Everything Everywhere All at Once has got a ton of texts and crafts and etc. And obviously, like you said, All Quiet on the Western Front. That's 5 movies with a loaded undercard resume this year. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard for one juggernaut to take hold. And I think that ultimately, I think Dune was like the lone movie that did that when we had the pandemic, closer to the pandemic, when a lot of those blockbusters weren't released.
Right. I think All Quiet is going to be this year's The Irishman in that it's going to get, what did it get, 10, 11 nominations?
9.
And I think it could get blanks because there's so many Best Picture movies that should get a couple of tech awards each.
It'll win international.
It's going to win international. It's like a minus
yes.
1,000 favorite right now in international.
But I think the other movies are going to split those tech awards. I don't think that's going to be the one that gets them. I think I agree. There's not going to be a Dune, but is Everything Everywhere going to be let's take winning Best Picture aside. Do we think at the end of the night that's the movie that has won the most Oscars?
Probably, because you're probably looking at either screenplay or director, if not both. You're looking at it as the favorite in Best Picture, and then you got Ke Huy Quan, and then it probably
all
picks up
pronunciations are correct.
Film editing might have a chance, but I don't know. It's a good question.
Be careful for Best Picture if the Daniels do win director though, because typically director and picture don't go hand in hand to the same film lately. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The big difference from our childhood. We were raised on the Best Picture, Best Director pairing, and now it's the opposite.
But I'm sorry, I gotta kind of finish up your last question because like Avatar's winning VFX, Top Gun's winning sound. Otherwise, we have All Quiet winning international, and then I don't know. It used to be editing was Top Gun's, but I think everything everywhere is coming in onto that turf there.
Do you think if James Cameron doesn't win VFX, he'll hang himself?
Can we make a deal that he stops making avatars if he doesn't win VFX? Can that happen?
I'll give him every Oscar. If we could get him just making another movie I want to see, that'd be incredible.
I wish. Like, it is.
He hasn't made a movie I wanted to see since the 90s.
But the undercard is spread out to finally answer your question.
And that, I mean, what Mike just hit on, I think, is also what's going to work against Top Gun Maverick having a Best Picture chance, because Top Gun Maverick's path to any kind of success there was to sweep the techs. And because there's so many players in the text this year, I like Mike said, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it might. I don't think it's going to, though.
It missed cinematography altogether, right. and that seemed like
pretty
it was
shocking.
The favorite.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the shocker of the day.
Totally.
Can I run one new category for the betting sites that we haven't had since before the nominations that we now have, and it's Best Original Screenplay. I did put $10 fantasy dollars on Ruben Östlund at great odds.
33 to 1.
Well, and now he's 1,600. But he's still in last place. This is according to Bovada. Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Banshees of Inisherin tied -115. Todd Field +1,000. Fableman's +12,000 or 1,200. Excuse me. And Triangle of Sadness 1,600. What do you guys think? Is there a bet there?
It's a two-way race up top, most likely.
You can't
Banshees
pick
and
one.
Everything Everywhere.
Yeah.
WGA is going to go Everything Everywhere, and that's 2 days beforehand. I wonder what BAFTA's going to do. They have given McDonough 2 screenplay BAFTAs, so you would expect them to go McDonough. So you're going to kind of have a split. So those odds are probably not going to shift necessarily one way or the other in a big way. So it's not like you can even wait. That's going to kind of be a toss-up.
And what's been happening with original, I mean, it's just the screenplay categories in general, but especially original, lately with the Academy, is that's been the winner of that has been it's been like the consolation, sorry you're not winning Best Director prize. You know? But I mean,
You're Promising Young Woman.
Right, exactly. Promising Young Woman, Get Out is another example. It could be, though, they could have a three-way split. You could have this year Banshees win original, Spielberg win director, Everything Everywhere wins picture still. So I guess that's still a possibility. But again, that would take kind of a group think. But we know the Academy's not above campaigning all in mass together, so who knows?
Hey!
Just email Courtney Cox.
Right, right.
Okay.
And
sorry.
In adapted, is it right now? It seems like Women Talking is the favorite. Do you feel like that's going to run away with it, or
who the hell knows with that category?
Because Women Talking got snubbed at BAFTA, so Women Talking can't win BAFTA. Women Talking can win WGA.
Adapted, it's Best Picture and Adapted are the only nominees Women Talking got, which is nuts.
I think that's a wide open category. I think the odds are kind of repping that, at least for the top three. You would say Top Gun has scripter and WGA. Who knows? Maybe the guy who wrote that costume for Bill Nighy.
I was just going to say it's a Nighy night. Maybe Nighy upsets an actor. Maybe he gets adapted screenplay.
Good screenplay, man. I mean, obviously it's Tolstoy, but shit.
I would look at All Quiet. I mean, All Quiet has been so hot ever since the BAFTA long lists were announced. I don't know how much of an Oscars player it was prior to those BAFTA long list announcements, and then maybe the Academy got the green light. They were like, "Oh, this is clearly what we should do for international feature," because international feature was not leaning All Quiet until the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that was a result of what happened with the long list. And then BAFTA noms came out, and All Quiet hit all their long list marks there, which was something crazy. It ends up being the second or third most nominated movie of any film this year for the Oscars, which is equally not the track that it was doing up until the last couple weeks. So I think you're going to look for a bit of a long shot. Maybe I know it's not great odds.
RRR being eligible for the Oscars would have derailed much of what All Quiet was doing. in like a lot of different categories.
Honestly, I think RRR confused the season to
Yeah.
an extent where, it wins the Critics' Choice. It wins a lot of critics'
Globes,
awards on the season. And therefore, consensus had not been built up till very late, really up to the BAFTA long list stage where BAFTA went nuts for, the Germans doing a movie about an anti-war film, a movie about pacifism.
That's
for
what
once.
they're known for, naturally, historically. I've been saying multiple times on our shows, if I can get a sentence out without stuttering, I don't know who's in charge of picking the film for Academy consideration in India, but they got to all be fired. Because the fact that RRR didn't get a chance to campaign for the Oscars Best International Feature category, I think undercut its chances across the board.
Is
and it could have been a
political
player.
because of the subject matter? I mean, the subject matter is like cartoon evil to such a degree. I
Right.
can see someone at the higher ups of India's whatever having an allegiance to the crown, and I don't know. I don't
Not
know
a fan
anything.
of classes over there. I mean, yeah. I mean, your guess is as good as mine there. I don't know, but I don't know what the hell happened there. I think they really shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they were like on of all years, the year that the Queen Mum dies, we just can't give it to this anti-monarch
My dream is that
action comedy.
is that Rajamouli meets James Cameron, and he puts all of his VFX into Rajamouli's next movie. So it's not like this cartoon terrible.
Somebody recorded that meeting on Twitter, and everybody posted it on Film Twitter. Again, this is the weekly Film Twitter update from Mike, and Oscar here. And so it might have been the most cringiest thing I was like, I wanted to choke myself afterwards.
Cameron?
Wait,
Cringy?
what was?
No, Rajamouli's just kissing Cameron's ass. It was it was mortifying. I was just awful. I hate interactions like that.
He was like
forever.
early aughts Todd Field with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then Rajamouli's going to show up wearing James Cameron hats.
Yeah,
for the
that's
next
how it goes.
30 years of his career. No, that's what's going
Sorting
to happen.
hats.
Well, maybe he'll get hired to make another failed Terminator reboot.
Could be.
Because
Yeah.
It's every 3 or 4 years someone's got to reboot it, and everyone's got to say, nope, we only like the second one and the first one a little, and that's it.
Whatever happened to Mick G? Mike, do you know what happened to Mick G?
He
How dare
directed
you.
something recently.
How dare you? He did the those babysitter horror movies on Netflix, which are gems, absolute gems. Should be nominated any year.
That's where he is.
I think he did one of
He's
them.
whenever someone is missing for too long, just assume they're on Netflix.
Right, they got a
That's a good
Netflix
point.
deal. Yeah.
Oh, I have a theory that every actor you think died is on a CBS network drama. And he has been for 12 years. Every time. I was like, oh, that's where Oliver Platt is. Oh, thank God. He's on SWAT or some shit.
I've missed Oliver Platt. That's a great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm mad at network TV now.
They got him.
he's on season
Again.
14 of a show that makes him $15 million a year.
Yeah, he goes home at 3 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
Okay, I want to ask you guys. Sorry, I don't know, Pat, if you had something good, but
No, go for
it's
it.
gone.
Yeah, this is
What does
better.
your Oscar night look like? What are you guys doing for the Oscars? What do you usually do? Because I know I had a party last year, and I had to work my party. Making food, cleaning up, blah blah blah. I couldn't watch the fucking show, and I vowed never again.
We haven't been in person for a couple years now due to COVID and due to just health issues, mostly on my side. But prior to COVID, it was gross. I mean, it would be Mike. How I know Mike is through one of his brothers who was my college roommate. So it would be Mike, his brother, who my ex-roommate. Usually my brother would join us as well. My parents. And we would just get way too much food because Mike and his brother, we'd get pizza. And then Mike and his brother are they don't know how to go somewhere without bringing their entire cupboard worth of food to
Good
like
man.
I just
Good man.
told you I'm Italian.
Right,
so-
exactly. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah. So, and it would just be us gorging, and then we would end up doing a recording right after the Academy Awards, and I would edit it that night, so I wouldn't get to bed till like 3-4 in the morning, and we were just so full of carbs and cheese at that point that like we just wanted to kill ourselves. So,
So the lamest answer
Yeah.
you never thought of when you wrote that question.
I appreciate you think I wrote this down.
No, here's what we think. We think we're like in the war room. We're like at the NFL draft war room, and no, we
Right.
gotta eat, right? So what are we gonna eat? Oh, let's get our favorite pizza, and then it became pizza and donuts. Let's get our favorite dessert, and then every year we're saying, oh, next year we're just gonna eat almonds and salads, and we never did.
it doesn't work.
Never
And
Yeah,
then-
you can have 42 donuts if you've been dieting up to the Oscars.
Right, throughout campaign season. Yeah, it doesn't usually work if you have our diets going in. But to your point, working during your party, like, yeah, we're in between, gluttonous cheese and all that. We have to write the scripts for our show that we did like afterwards. So it was like nonstop
tweet,
work for
don't
us.
forget.
And tweet
Gotta
and
tweet.
interact on
Someone's gotta
social
tweet.
medias. Yeah, all that fun
Don't
stuff.
Oh yeah, tweeting. That's good. Gotta figure that out. No, tweeting ruined my career. When tweeting came in, it separated the great pithy comedy writers from the incredible comedy performers, and ruined our chances. And so Twitter's dead to me long before Elon.
Well, it's only gotten so much worse. So
Oh, it's so fun. I'm on Mastodon. Me, my 6 friends named Mike, they all went to college with. They're all brothers. And you don't go on there. Mastodon? No.
no.
That was like a metal band.
It was.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What are your favorite bets you have right now? I know you have a lot in, but what do you like? Not what are you hoping hits most, but what is something you're like, that's going to happen?
Yeah, for sure. Like I have plus 700 bets on EEAO to win Best Pick, Daniels to win Director.
You got
Angela
everything everywhere at
Bassett.
plus 700?
Yep.
Wow.
How long did you
sorry,
put that in?
650. That was beginning of December.
Good for you.
And it's gone down slowly. But I also my best was plus 700 Angela Bassett after Critics' Choice Awards.
Ooh.
I heard you guys
I
talking
heard
about that, and I couldn't believe that was still being offered.
It
that
was
high. That's
it
incredible.
wasn't still offered when we put our episode out.
Good for
It
you
already
getting
changed,
that, though.
Yeah.
Mine, of course, is Austin Butler for Elvis.
Good for
I
you.
got him real early, and I am riding
He
that
meant
to the
front runners,
end.
Pat.
No. What odds did you get Butler at?
You see. God, I forget then because he was like I bet him the second that they went up, but he was at that point. Brendan Fraser was a major favorite, so I definitely got. I gotta dig up these betting slips, but I got some.
Yeah.
I got some big money coming to me if Austin Butler pulls it off.
We did this last year in like the dying days of my old podcast, Get Rich Nick. Pat and his BO Boy co-host Clayton and I did a couple of months on this, and a lot of it was just figuring out where the hell these fucking bets are, and realizing that you have to bet early. You got to bet early because it's like you could take insane swings because the odds are so crazy. You can take swings on 3 different people in the same category, and then when it comes down to it. But as it gets closer, and these things start to get solidified, I'm just laying money on the favorites. Like a $10 bet on Kiwi Kwan is sure it's going to make you $2, but it's guaranteed money that you get in the giant number on Oscar Day when all of your bets come in. You pool that in, and it's all one. It's a savings account for me. My kids go into school as long as the Daniels don't fuck this up.
I was gonna say, I hope you get those favorites right, because man, if one goes wrong, that stuff terrifies me. Paying such a high vig on stuff like that, because if one of those goes wrong, oh man.
Well, I got a lot of stuff going on.
If you found one of these sites that let you bet a $10,000 limit, would you put it up? Would you go as high as you can on Kiwi Kwan? I mean, is that the one where like everything I have, I'm selling stuff. I'm taking my wife's wedding ring. Give me it for a minute. Let me.
I mean,
We gotta put on
this
Kiwi
is,
Kwan.
guys. We're talking to a non-gambler here. He only bets on this.
I only bet on
A
this.
gambler would never bet at the house on a minus 800 or whatever. Fucking Kiwi Kwan is.
The example I keep thinking of, and I know at least one of you. Are you both wrestling fans, or is only one of you watch wrestling?
I am a wrestling fan.
So going into Mania 30, I said this on our pod too. There was somebody in London who bet Taker to beat Lesnar, but the odds were like minus 160,000 or something like that, and he ended up risking something like 64 grand to win $4,000, and obviously Brock Lesnar won.
Right.
So the heavy favorites, and that's obviously just an outstanding example, but like the heavy favorites scare the living shit out of me for like reasons like that. That said, is Kiwi Kwan like the most sure I am is that somebody's going to win? Yeah, right now, and I think Mike would say the same, right?
I think it's fun to put $50 on and just have a jump up and down moment.
Right.
Sorry, Mike.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I think. I mean, doinks. I have some doinks here.
There
I
we
have
go.
Give me your
Pinocchio,
doinks.
Pinocchio and animated, All Quiet and International. I have Top Gun and sound and Avatar and VFX, and then my big Kiwi Kwan is definitely a doink. So those 5 doinks.
But we also thought Chadwick Boseman was a lock a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
we locked Chadwick.
There we go.
I made my name. My name is Nick the Father Turner because of my Anthony Hopkins and the Father winning screenplay bets. And,
Good for you. I mean, we were stunned by. Well, obviously, so was Darren Aronofsky, who produced the Oscars that night. But we were absolutely stunned by that. I mean,
Darren Aronofsky.
Who was
your
it?
brain.
Who was
Soderbergh.
it? Soderbergh. I'm sorry.
Steven Soderbergh.
Or Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah. Well, I knew it was a director.
I thought you were just hanging
would-
out with him.
I would love to see an Aronofsky produced version
You're
of
right.
the Oscars.
An Aronofsky Oscars would be interesting to look at least. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix would have definitely died at the end of it.
Yeah, just give us a Requiem for a Dream version of handing out these Oscars.
All right, guys. We got to wrap this show up. It has been incredible having you on. Thanks so much for doing this. You're just talking a bubble so much. You guys got film Twitter. Me and Pat just have each other and our wives
In
who
life,
have left us
that's it.
for each other.
Yeah. They said just talk to him about it. Leave me alone.
Well, thank you guys for inviting us. And yeah, anytime you need 2 more people to share, we can always take solace in that at least, the 4 of us may be the only 4 on earth who hate the beloved movies that are impossible to hate, but like Pinocchio. But at least we're in it together. So we have a kinship there, and we appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah, and we all 4 of us love Elvis.
Right, equally, as I've learned
we
throughout
go.
this recording. Yeah.
I love
Yes.
the guy.
Yes.
I'm still on his diet. It's worked wonders for me. I am doing slightly better than his twin.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I giggled my ass off. It took my mind off my Knicks just blowing another game, so I appreciate that so much. No, I love your new show, guys. It's great. Been listening, and we don't just go on anything. We go on good shows.
Yeah.
This was a blast. We'll come on again.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
thank you guys.
I can't wait to see what the hell you guys do after Oscars, and I am going to be there. All right, yeah, so that is our show. We've got no more ads to read. Check out the Patreon, the Discord, SGPN. Thank you to our SGPN gods for another day of life.
Yes, we pray to you.
Listen to the BO Boys. Listen to
course.
Fraudsters. Most importantly, listen to Mike, and Oscar. Thank you so much, guys. That is our show. See you next time.